Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be taking a look at some armies that you can build if you want to play the vampire counts. And so in this series I'm kind of taking you through some potential armies and showing you the screen you don't really see on my channel, which is this custom battle screen where you build your armies that you're going to use in quick battle. And so when going up against the greenskins, the main thing you want to think about is anti-large, because a greenskin player who knows what they're doing is going to know that this is a weakness of the vampires, that they don't have any range units, and therefore they are vulnerable to giant and Ragnarok spam, which you've seen, I think I've shown on the channel before. It's a great way to take on the vampire counts. Because the giant's usual low armor is not as much of a liability. So when I think about armor-piercing units on the greenskin lineup, on the vampire lineup, there's skeleton spearmen, blood knights, dire pack, and terrorgeists. I believe that is everything that has anti-large on this roster. So these things, you can see here. Anti-large plus 40, anti-large plus 14, anti-large plus 22, and just some plus 13 here. So these are the units that we want to highlight in our army. So we'll put them away for now, though. So there is one other tool for anti-large, and that is this spell right here, Gaze of Nagash, poor penetration, causes magical damage, strong versus a single combatant. And so this is going to be a great spell to try and counteract the giants that are going to be on the field if you're fighting against a greenskin. So I think this is where we're going to start with Strigoi. We're doing this for two reasons. One, Gaze of Nagash, and a second reason, Terrorgeist. You can see now he has an anti-large bonus, as well as poison, so he will be very good at dealing with large units. So we're gonna toss him on his Terrorgeist. We're gonna keep all these abilities. This would be a great ability to use on himself or on the Terrorgeist if it was charging in first. So be aware of that. And we're gonna cut all these spells here, except for Gaze of Nagash and Invocation of Nehek. And we'll go down the line here. We do need, I think, a corpse cart would be a good move, so we're going to bring a necromancer here with a corpse cart, and we're going to put the unholy lodestone on here to replenish hit points. We're going to put Vigor Mortis on here to help boost our skeleton spearmen that we're going to be bringing to the fight, and any other infantry units. And we're going to take everything off of here except for we're going to keep Raise Dead. We only want one Gaze of Nagash. And so Invocation and Raise Dead. And so we'll use this guy to spawn zombies in the backline to try and break the morale. And we'll use this character, the Strigoi Ghoul King, to damage the large units. And so we definitely don't want Strigoi up here by himself. That's a recipe for disaster. If they have a stronger air squad than you, it's done. So we're going to toss a Terrorgeist friend up here. So we got two Terrorgeists here with huge bonuses versus large and huge armor-piercing damage. And let's create that core here. We'll bring 4 skeleton spears. So these would be great to throw in first against giants and other large infantry. And we will also we'll throw in the Blood Knights and this Dire Pack. And then we'll have a flanking force for each side of the map. So we won't keep them together. We will kind of separate them. And so that will be good. We'll be able to flank around both sides without having to spend a huge chunk of money on 2 Blood Knights. And we'll kind of cheap out on this one. It does double their damage though, so I think definitely worth it with that plus 14 anti-large bonus. But you can see that they have very limited armor piercing damage. So these will be ones you want to throw against the giant. And this would be one you wanted to throw against the giant or the Ragnarok spider, and you'd want to mostly throw these Terrorgeists and your Strigoi against spiders because of their large armor piercing damage But of course they'll do great against any large target. But no greenskin player is just going to bring large units. There are other things on the field. So there will probably be some black orcs. So a good answer to that here is these Graveguard with great weapons. So we can bring these guys. We'll just fill in our ranks here with a couple of skeleton warriors and add in a Cairn Wraith. So we have 2 meat shields here in the form of these skeleton warriors, and they can go wherever you want them to go. We have 2 flanking forces here with the Dire Pack and the Blood Knights, and we have a huge segment of anti-large in the form of skeleton spearmen. And so here you get within 2 of your funds, and you have what I think is a strong army with that has lots of regen capabilities in the Necromancer and Strigoi, and a ton of armor-piercing damage, anti-large damage. And so I think this would work really well if you were going up against an army, say, of the Greenskins. We'll bring these guys here, and whatever. You'll see how quickly your funds get eaten up when you bring these guys and a couple of black orcs. We'll say 3, and that's pretty much your army there. So, yeah, you can definitely counter an army like this, a small but elite army, with this vampire build. Lots of mobility, lots of anti-large, some meat shield units, all important things. And these guys will be good. They cause terror. It doesn't hurt, but wait, they cause terror? Really? Wow. This will be good for this. So this would be a good way to rout some savage orcs or something like that, while your terror guys that also cause terror strike elsewhere on the battlefield. Anyway, so we'll come back in here in a second when we'll look at another possible vampire army. This time we'll be talking about the vampire counts against the dwarves. And so when I'm making this build, I have my dwarf build in mind. So lots of cheap melee units, some ranged troops that aren't super deadly to armored individuals, and not very many damage dealing heroes, more of support heroes. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to beat my own build here with the vampires. And so I'm going to start with Vlad here. We don't really need a lot of movement. We'll get that later. And we really actually want all these spells. They're all pretty good. I guess Aura of Dark Grandeur. It's so cheap, we'll keep it on there. Anything to help break the back of the dwarves. So we're going to drop everything here except Raise Dead and Invocation of Nehek. And we're going to put this Blood Drinker on him. And I like to put this one on only because it gives him a ton of regen. It doesn't cost that much, it costs 200. You don't have to use Invocation of Nehek on him, and so definitely a good item. This one, generally I feel like whenever I'm below 20% hit points, as it says there, cannot use if hit points greater than 20%. I've already hit my regen cap for the battle, so it will not kick in, and so that's why I like to just bring Blood Drinker. There you go, just with Invocation and Raise Dead, trying to cut costs here as much as possible. And what I like to do lately is bring this Necromancer here, and I'm going to put him on the Unholy Lodestone, again, just like the last one, and I'm going to add 2 of his abilities. This is 100. That's like almost a zombie, not really worth it. He'll be invocating around himself, and he'll be able to heal that way. And I wonder if the Unholy Lodestone hits himself as well. But anyways, we're going to take off all these spells. Keep Raise Dead. That's how we're going to be dealing with the Rangers of the army. And so we have our 2 main core here healing, but we need some stuff to help deal with the Runesmith, to catch and murder the Runesmith. So we're going to pop in these guys. We're going to keep all their armor piercing bonus damage abilities, and we're actually going to get 2 of them. We're going to put them both on armored war horses and get them up like that. And so these guys, their primary duty will be getting into the back lines and attacking runesmiths and rune lords. Definitely target runesmiths first. They are weaker, much easier to kill than, of course, a general would be. Yeah, okay, so we have our hero squad there. Definitely a lot of heroes. And we're just gonna start bringing some of these guys. So, great unit, armored, armor piercing, anti-infantry. So if we look at his bonuses here, 28 armor piercing damage, 8 bonus versus infantry, and 10 weapon damage, which will probably be ignored with the dwarves. So as long as these guys are supported by your necromancer directly, they will do very good, and it will protect them from most of the fire from rangers if the enemy does bring them. And as long as you can get them into combat relatively quickly, they will be safe from skirmishers. So I love these guys, definitely, but not very good or cost effective unless being supported by the necromancer. So make sure you're keeping Invocation of Nehek going on these guys, and keeping them away, hopefully, from any goblobbers in the area. As our kind of flanking force, just to pressure the flanks, we're going to have 4 skeleton warriors. Fast, nimble, whatever. And we're going to throw in one of my favorite units on the lineup, these Sternsmen. Great unit here. You can see the same, but just more weapon damage. Regeneration, amazing. These guys will take care of themselves, so you want to focus your Invocation of Nehek elsewhere. Definitely a great unit. You can see slightly better stats all around for the Sternsmen. More melee defense, they'll last longer, take less damage, so their regeneration can do more. That's the kind of idea about those guys. And we got 389, whatever, one of the most cost-effective units ever. We're gonna bring in the Fellbat, and we're gonna buff it. Look at that. Because why not? And here you go. You have a great force. You have skeleton warriors as your flanking force. You have a main grave guard hitting core. You have 2 hero sniping white kings, and Vlad and the necromancer will be able to handle themselves. So here you have 2 armies, one for the dwarves, one for the greenskins, and hopefully ways to make your vampire counts get back to reaping lost souls and raising undead after dealing with the meddlesome dwarves. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in again for some more quick battles and army tutorials. Thanks so much, and that's that.